You walked into that room, and within 4 seconds, you'd already decided everyone was staring at you. The way you walked, the way your voice cracked when you said hi, that stain on your shirt you noticed 5 minutes before leaving the house. You replayed it the entire drive home. Every glance someone gave you, every pause in conversation, you turned it into evidence. Evidence that they noticed, evidence that they judged, evidence that you embarrassed yourself in a way nobody will ever forget. Here's the uncomfortable part. They forgot. Almost all of them forgot within minutes. And the reason isn't that they're polite, or distracted, or kind enough to let it slide. It's that they were never paying nearly as much attention to you as you assumed. Not because you don't matter, because nobody has the spare processing power to watch you the way you're watching yourself. And once you understand the actual mechanism behind this, the anxiety doesn't fully disappear, but it stops running the show. So let's talk about what's really happening when you walk into a room and feel like every eye is locked onto you. Your brain has exactly one camera, and it's pointed at you all day, every day. You wake up inside your own head, and you never leave. Every sensation, every thought, every flicker of self-doubt runs directly through your own internal feed, non-stop, for your entire life. And because that feed is so loud, so constant, so impossible to mute, your brain makes a quiet, faulty assumption. It assumes everyone else's camera is pointed at you too. In 2000, psychologist Thomas Gilovich ran an experiment that exposed exactly how wrong that assumption is. He had a student walk into a room full of strangers wearing a deeply embarrassing t-shirt, something they'd be mortified to be seen in. Before walking in, the student was asked to guess how many people in the room would notice and remember the shirt. Most guessed around half the room. The actual number who later recalled it, less than a quarter. Gilovich called this the spotlight effect, and what it reveals is almost insulting if you take it personally. People are not watching you. They're each running their own internal broadcast, starring themselves, and you are, at best, a brief background extra in it. But here's the part that actually stings if you sit with it. If everyone is the lead actor in their own film, then the awkward thing you did wasn't even the main event for anyone else in the room. It might not have made the cut at all. Now you might be asking, if that's true, why does it feel so convincing in the moment? Why does the spotlight feel so real, so hot, so unbearably specific to you? That comes down to something psychologists call the curse of knowledge. You know everything about your own mistake. You know the exact second your voice cracked. You know precisely how long you stared at the wrong door before realizing it was the wrong door. You're holding the complete high-definition footage. The people around you got maybe half a second of blurry, low-resolution input, if they registered it at all. So you're comparing your full memory against their fragment, and the comparison is rigged from the start. You're the only one in the room with the complete tape, and you keep replaying it as though everyone else owns a copy. There's a second study worth knowing about here, because it goes one step further than embarrassment. In a separate experiment, researchers had participants engage in a group discussion and then estimate how visible their internal emotional state, things like nervousness or discomfort, had been to the other people in the room. People consistently overestimated how transparent they were. They assumed their anxiety was written across their face in neon. In reality, observers rated them as significantly calmer and more composed than they rated themselves. This has a name too. It's called the illusion of transparency, and it means you're not just wrong about being watched. You're wrong about being read, so now we have two separate illusions stacking on top of each other. The spotlight effect convinces you that your actions are under constant observation. The illusion of transparency convinces you that your inner panic is visible on the outside. Combine them and you get a brain that's certain it's being watched, and certain that the watching includes your private discomfort. When, in reality, almost none of it is landing on anyone else at all. Here's where it gets a little more personal, because this isn't random. The people who experience the spotlight effect most intensely tend to share something specific, a heightened baseline of self-focused attention. Their internal narrator never really clocks out. While other people are quietly observing the room, half listening, half thinking about lunch, the high self-focus brain is running an aggressive internal audit in real time. How did that sound? Was that weird? Did they catch that pause? This isn't vanity. It's the opposite of vanity. It's a nervous system that has decided self-monitoring equals safety, so it never stops monitoring. And the side effect is a wildly inflated estimate of how much anyone else is monitoring you back. And there's a reason this particular illusion is so hard to talk yourself out of, even once you know the research. Knowing the spotlight effect exists intellectually doesn't automatically turn off the feeling, because the feeling isn't generated by logic. It's generated by attention allocation, and you cannot out-argue where your attention is pointed. You can only redirect it, which is the actual fix, not pep talks, not telling yourself nobody cares, redirection. The next time you feel that heat rising, that certainty that the room has frozen to assess you, the move isn't to suppress the feeling. It's to deliberately point your attention outward. Notice one specific real detail about another person in the room. Their shoes, their accent, what they just said. That single shift, observer instead of observed, breaks the loop. Because the spotlight effect cannot survive you actually looking at someone else instead of imagining them looking at you. This also reframes every cringe memory you've been quietly carrying for years. That thing you said in 9th grade that still makes you wince. The people in that room weren't building a permanent archive of your worst moment. They were busy being the main character of their own 9th grade, worrying about their own voice cracking, their own stain, their own 4 seconds of imagined humiliation. The spotlight was never actually on you. It was never actually on anyone. Everyone was just standing in a room full of people who each assumed they were the only one being watched, when the truth is far stranger and somehow far kinder. Nobody was watching. Everybody was performing for an audience that, statistically, mostly wasn't there. If this kind of explanation helped the moment click for you, there are deeper breakdowns like this one waiting in the rest of this channel. The kind of psychology that quietly explains the things you've felt for years but never had language for. Subscribe if you want more of these, and I'll see you in the next one.